So just initial reactions again, I'm sorry.
Oh, initial reaction. Well, obviously it was really shocking. The chair at the time, Julia Kilgard, had just come back from the meeting, and I'm adjunct. Well, I'm full-time, and then I'm part-time. So my interaction with sort of committee meetings and what was happening, and if there was any, I don't know if there was any warning, but in terms of my relationship with Professor Kilgard, from her perspective, it would seem like there was absolutely no warning that it was coming. We had also just become a department, I think 2 years previous to this, our own department, separate from art history, so students could then major in visual art. And we had been working on the curriculum for the last couple of years for the full-time people, including myself a little bit, and trying to write the curriculum for what that would look like. She goes to this meeting, she comes back, and I just remember she's wearing this really nice black and white dress. She looked very professional, and she was crying. And her and some of the other faculty that have been here for 20 years, finding out that all the foundations that they had built were just, that was it. And we had 1 year to finish off, we had that particular academic year and then 1 more year to finish out. It was just really shocking.
How many students did you have enrolled maybe as majors? Do you remember like the department?
Well, I do usually, since I've been here, it's my 6th year, I do usually I have been teaching the senior seminar 490, which are only joint majors take that course. And, when I first started here, I think there were 4 students in the class that I taught. Not very many joint majors that would take that, but it's only taught 1 semester. We're also here as part of the curriculum for art history as well. But this year I have 10. Last year I had 7. So it's anywhere from like a small amount to like 10. But it was a very unique program, because if you are interested in pursuing visual art, you are working in a very intimate setting with just like 10 people. I mean, in my graduate study, there were only 20 people that were taking that course. So for undergraduate to be able to be in a situation where you're one of maybe 5 to 10 people, and you have that kind of attention, and I mean, that's a really amazing thing.
Right.
We were talking about this. Do you feel like that's any kind of, I'm a political science major, like it's not a huge department, and so I feel like I maybe get more attention than other people do. Granted, it hasn't been cut.
Right,
but
because the ratio
do you feel like there's any
better.
kind of silver lining in the smaller departments, just in general, that there's more attention?
Okay, see you then. Yes, obviously I think that there's a real advantage to having that kind of having a small department. But even though we're a small department in terms of who wants to joint major,
right.
Certainly we're not really a small department when it comes to minoring. We're only limited to what the college would allow us to offer. We had the demand to teach. I would say, on any given semester we teach maybe 2 to 3 introductory drawing and painting classes, and I turned away on average 20 to 40 people on my wait list every semester. And I start getting emails. I'm getting emails now for next semester as though I'm going to be, asking me, please put me on the top of the wait list. I want to be in this class. I want to take painting and drawing. I want to do it. So the demand is there. So even though we're a small department, we're small, that's a strategic decision by the college. That's not out of demand or necessity necessarily.
Right. And is there anything that you wish had happened in the process that the college had either been kind of more forthcoming about or just released sooner? Is there any kind of big blaring issue?
We had just learned that there was maybe some questionable kind of reasoning for the cuts.
Was it for finances, or was it just because
maybe
of the college?
Yeah, a lot of the information I have about that is not really as direct. It's maybe what I've heard from other professors, not necessarily as far as my role in what I found out, but I had heard it was financial. It doesn't look financial, it looks like a political decision. Even if it is somewhat financial, there are lots of ways to save money. It's my understanding that administration has grown percentage-wise disproportionately to the amount of money they're actually, universities, particularly this one, are putting into the kind of learning and education that we could be offering to the students. Yet your tuition is going up.
Right.
So the fact that they need more middle people, more administration to organize that just seems antithetical to the process.
Right.
So as far as what I've been told about what the cuts were for, I've heard lots of things. I've heard it was about money. I've heard it was about reallocation of assets, that sort of thing. I mean, what it really looked like to me was, a lot of this has to do with a change in leadership over the course of the time that I've been here. We had one president who was very supportive of the visual arts and actually helped the faculty here get their own department separate from art history. Which in hindsight, I look back on that and think that was probably a huge mistake because we've really lost the shelter of art history.
Right.
But then to have a new president come in and then all of a sudden the department is young, so to come in and say, oh well, we should not have done that. Well, you didn't even really start investing in that, so it's just really a change in mission, a change in leadership, and it's about the legacy that the new president wants to leave behind and what that looks like over the course of whatever amount of time that he feels like he's going to be here. And obviously visual arts was not part of that.
Okay. So kind of talking about that new vision, like, so the people that are still a major in
Like art history?
or are able to take classes in this department, do you feel that the classes maybe is there any way that they possibly could have gotten like better just because they're like potentially fewer faculty, so fewer students, so more passionate? Or is it kind of, as you were saying before, they had to be combined, so it wasn't really...
You mean over the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part was having to, like my senior seminar 490 right now. Normally, students taking that class would be seniors, and they would have gone through not only the visual arts requirements, but also a lot of the other liberal arts requirements that are actually very important to informing what kind of artistic choices we want to make, whether that's if we're inspired by philosophy, literature. You would be at the end of your academic time period, and you would have taken lots of courses to help you come up with a very full idea of what you want to make work about, what you want to go out into the world thinking about. And so my biggest problem with the way things were done the last couple of years is that they really only they allowed people to become joint majors in that last semester and in the fall in 2012 when they announced it. But for people who were like sophomores at that time, I have juniors now at the moment, and I have some very hardworking people that are doing good work, but I feel bad for them because they should be doing this at a point when they feel like they have a really when they're more confident about the information they've been given and what they want to do with it and how they can manipulate it.
So the cuts of the department weren't necessarily like because you were able to have an endpoint, but the quality of getting to the endpoint was also compensated when they gave the cuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I said, my students are good and they're doing a good job, so I can't fault them. I have a problem with a system that would make a student, when you compress that learning curve, going from not just the introductory to intermediate to advanced level at one time, which is ridiculous. There's a reason why you learn things consecutively, because you need time to process that information and figure out how to apply it. And it's not just for like technical stuff that you learn in the visual arts, it's also the kind of intellectual and academic information you're getting in other fields that will inform how you think about things. I mean, it's all very important, and if you're writing a thesis of any kind, the more information, the more research time you have available to you, the better, and the more knowledgeable you're going to be about your subject matter.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm going to stop the filming now.